So what basically pass by reference means in Java? So you have created one object and you have assigned the object's reference in memory to a reference variable, and then you pass that reference variable to a method. Now the method has the ability to kind of go and change the values within that particular object. So this was not the case when we were working with primitive types such as int, float, char in our previous example, where the change within the function or the method was localized to the method itself. It was not reflecting in the main function. But when you pass the value as a reference to a function, you give it the ability to go and change the values residing within your object. So let us see how this works using a very simple example. So here we have a class called mutual fund that we will try to modify using pass by reference. So this class contains a very simple construct. It has two data members. One is the name of the mutual fund and the current value of whatever you have invested in the mutual fund. It has standard setters and the overridden toString method to print out the value of the object in this fashion. So we will get the mutual fund name and the current value of the mutual fund. Now there is one more class called broker, where actually we will try to update the value of the mutual fund once it has been created. So we have a standard main method. In this main method, what we do is we first create an object of the mutual fund using this method called setup new mutual fund. And what this basically does is it creates a mutual fund object and then calls the setters set name and set current value and assigns data to the object and then returns the object reference. So the mutual fund here is the object reference. So that object reference is returned and then is stored here. Now we print out the details of the object here. Next, what we do is we call one more method called simulate stock market crash, where we will be modifying this created object. So we pass this same object reference to this method. And what this method basically does is it takes the object reference and then overrides its current value with this hard-coded number. So after this function is completed and the control returns from this function call, we go to this print statement where we actually print out the new mutual fund details. Now what we are going to notice is the initial value of the mutual fund, which was this amount, will now be reflected as this amount. And how this happened is because we passed this object reference to this simulate stock market crash. Now this function did basically whatever object reference was passed to that, it used that and set its own current value to another number, and in essence this change is now again being reflected in the main method. So let us quickly run this and see how it works. So here we see the current fund details. That means this line, we are printing the current value as 412456.78. And after the simulate stock market crash has updated that same object, we get the current value as 378,198.98. So this is how pass by reference works in Java.